My name is Ty Edward Few. My pronouns are he, him, his. My role is I'm the Associate Director of the Denver Prevention Training Center. When I think about gender affirming care, for me, that really just involves the range of social, psychological, behavioral, and medical services that are really designed to support and affirm an individual's gender identity. So, an organization who really cares about gender affirming care and providing gender affirming care will do some of the following things: institutionalizing pronouns. So, everyone uses pronouns, like I did in my introduction. My pronouns are he, him, his. Second thing they need to do is check their assumptions. Do not make assumptions based on appearance and what medical service you think someone needs when they walk through the door. Avoid gendered services. Offer services to everyone, regardless of your perception of their sex or gender. And one of the things that's very simple to do, and we beg you to do, is revise your forms. Ask about what do people want to be called? What is their preferred name? What are their pronouns? Those small changes really would show someone accessing care that you really do care about who they are as an individual. For me, I'm not going to separate health and wellness. I'm not going to detangle them. To me, they are coexisting in the same space. And for me, the journey that I've been on is thinking about this concept of belonging. Belonging does not mean that I give you a seat at the table. Belonging means that if I've invited you to the table for a meal, that I have made something that you can eat, something that is going to be nutritious for you, something that's going to feed you. That if there's music playing, the music is something that is feeding your spirit, that is from your community, something that you can dance to, something that you can nod your head to, that the conversation will include you. So belonging is about seeing the total fullness of who you are, making space for it, and then ensuring that the care that you get respects the fullness of who you are, and not just your education, whom you know, what your zip code is, what school you went to. Too often in this country, the care and wellness that people receive is tied to money. Do you have money to do this? Do you have money to do that? I no longer want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where belonging is critical. So if we can start with belonging, then the care that transgender and non-binary people, the health and wellness that they need to thrive will be there. So for me, it starts with that basic part, and it's not a medical thing. It's not a sociological construct. It's something that you feel down in your belly. When you belong, when you know someone is in your corner, then you are able to relax and really talk about your health. You're able to share things about your health that you don't share if your provider, the organization, doesn't care about who you are. So for me, belonging is where we would start with health and wellness. My role at the Denver Prevention Training Center may sound like it's just an administrative title. However, I get down into the weeds of the technical stuff. I want to ensure that the courses that we offer, the technical assistance that we provide, is dedicated to promoting wholeness, promoting belonging. We get clinics, we get doctors, we get organizations to design services that see individuals for who they are, not what an organization wants them to be. I really do care about health access for all, and the all is underlined. And for me, that is why that's important. What are social determinants of health? So this can be a little bit complex. but I'm going to use really accessible language. And I'm going to really focus in on the social determinants of health as they apply to transgender and non-binary people. So when I think about the social determinants, I think about those forces in our lives that influence our opportunities and barriers. It's not just the opportunities, but and the barriers for healthy living. So for transgender people, I really think that there are 6 major social determinants of health that I want people to really understand. The first one is income and employment. It is so critical in order for people to be able to take care of themselves, to sometimes even have health insurance, to be able to pay to live. It is important that they have a job that pays them a living wage. And for many transgender and non-binary people, there is a barrier to accessing and gaining employment. The second is housing. And I really mean housing that is safe, that when you go to sleep at night, the people who you want in your house are in your house, the creatures that you want in your house are in your house, and that housing supports your ability to take medicine. That housing supports your ability to feed yourself what you want to eat. That housing provides you the opportunity to entertain whom you want to entertain. The third one is education. In this society, in this world, education means everything. It's not just getting a couple of initials behind your name. It's about what you know and how you can apply that to work situations, to ensuring that you are not being unhoused or having opportunities around housing that are lacking. Education is critical, and many transgender and non-binary people aren't receiving the education that they need because of discrimination. The next one is public space accommodations. In this country right now, too many people are concerned about what's happening in restrooms and who's going into restrooms, and that becomes a barrier for our transgender and non-binary brothers and sisters. That's just not what we want. So that's a social determinant. The next one, police interactions. I shouldn't have to say much more than that, but I will. Transgender and non-binary people, especially BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, have interactions with police that often end with someone's life ending, and it's the BIPOC person, it's the transgender person. Police interactions are not about safety, they're about harassment. And the final thing is access to healthcare. Transgender people and non-binary people are not able to access the adequate care that they need. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier about what does gender affirming care means. It means when I walk in the door, I get the care that I need based upon my gender identity, not based upon what someone else thinks. When I think about gender affirming care, I really think about, and why it's important to me, I think about a quote that Toni Morrison said. She was talking about her work as an editor, and she was editing The Invisible Man. And one thing that she said was, invisible to whom? I know this man, I see this man, I live amongst this man. And to me, that says that that book was written to people so that they could see us, respect us, understand us, create a space for us. So for me, gender affirming care is the belonging. It's important because I want someone to walk into a clinic to get the care that represents who they are, their gender identity, who they see themselves as. That is important. We no longer need to have books like The Invisible Man because we want to see the fullness of someone. If you want to learn more about health equity, racial equity, and gender affirming care, please visit our website, www.denverptc.org. Go to the resources tab and then go down to fact sheets, you will find so much information. We designed this for you. We designed it for clinics. We designed it for someone who just wants to learn a little bit more. Go there. There you'll find amazing resources and links to other resources. Remember, we all have a role in ensuring that transgender and non-binary people can have gender-affirming care, that people of color can live in a society that cares for racial equity, that we create means and accesses so that people can get healthcare for all.
My name is Helen Burnside, pronouns are she, her, and I'm the director of the Denver PTC and been a part of this program for 15 years. Gender-affirming care is medically necessary healthcare. It's age-appropriate for transgender and non-binary people. And gender-affirming care supports people in defining, exploring, and actualizing their gender identity without judgment or assumptions. In fact, every major medical and mental health association, including the American Medical Association, American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American Psychological Association, recognize that it is medically necessary to affirm people's gender identity. And gender-affirming care looks different for every transgender and non-binary person. So it asks us as the medical community to listen and honor the gender identity of all of their patients. Some people may have gender-affirming surgeries, some may not. And for some people, it could be expression through haircut or clothes. But whatever the expression is, gender-affirming care honors that identity and each person's choice about how to express their gender identity. Without gender-affirming care, we can cause harm to the people we serve because we continue to perpetuate the discrimination that transgender and non-binary people face every day. The harms of withholding gender-affirming care have been well documented and can lead to depression, self-harm, substance use, and suicide ideation, particularly in youth. And right now, states across the country are making steps to eliminate access to gender-affirming care. Gender-affirming care is important to me because I believe that we need systems that value each person as they identify and honors their expression, identity, and validates and believes an individual's understanding of themselves. Gender-affirming care to me is treating everyone with dignity and respect that they deserve. And it means medical providers are working in partnership with the people they serve and never providing treatment without consent. Social determinants of health are the conditions in the environments that we all live, work, play, worship, and age in, and they impact a person's wellness, functioning, and quality of life. Social determinants of health also contribute to health disparities and inequities, and gender inequity is a key social determinant of health. In the US, transgender and non-binary people continue to face employment and housing discrimination, and therefore are more prone to live in poverty or experience homelessness, social and family rejection, gender oppression, violence, and lack of access to gender-affirming care. And the discrimination and bias that transgender and non-binary people experience every day results in chronic daily stress that impacts mental and physical health outcomes. This is why it's so important to implement gender-affirming care that ensures equitable access to healthcare, housing, employment, safety, and social support for transgender and non-binary people. Ask about a person's gender identity and listen, really listen. Believe people when gender identity is expressed and ensure that you can note a person's gender identity, pronouns, and preferred name in your forms. And listen and act if a person mentions distress. Know the resources available in your community to support them. And one more thing, if I may, is that look around the spaces that you live, work, play, worship, and age in, and request spaces that honor all gender identities, such as gender-neutral bathrooms, gender-neutral language, and images that include transgender and non-binary people. For more resources on gender affirming care and caring for the transgender and non-binary community, visit our website at www.denverptc.org or follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thanks for watching this video.